Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Uganda Crossroads. Again, my name is Alexandria Owuma. I am your host with the mostest. Again, this is Uganda Crossroads. This is a political forum, a political platform where we bring some of your most knowledgeable neighbors. You know them, you've seen them, you have loved on them, you have watched this show continuously, and we want to thank you. I am someone who's not politically inclined. I don't know what goes on, but I want to be involved in the change that I want to see in Uganda happen. That's why I say this show that we can, can have a platform where people who are knowledgeable what's going on in Uganda can sit down and talk and interact and exchange ideas and see what we can do, because all of us are trying to see and build a better Uganda. We're trying to see how we can do certain things, send money here, or inform, engage in a political forum somewhere online, or do our small bits that we can see Uganda, get to the place where other countries are. Now, the past few weeks, as always, Uganda is always eventful. There's always a lot of things happening in Uganda. There's never a day where we're not talking about issues concerning Uganda, and it's so much fun to watch and so good to just keep watching and be engaged and be pulled in by all the juice that keeps coming out of Uganda. And I'm very, very honored that I do have a few bright minds sitting next to me. You have seen them all the time. We have Hillary and we have Sarah, very, very intelligent people who know what's going on in Uganda, and they always come here to give their own informed view of what's happening. Now, if you're out there and you're like me, you don't know how to read the political scene or what's happening, or you don't know how to who did what, who's to blame. That's why we have them here. That's why we have them on Uganda Crossroads, so that they can shed some more light on things you must have missed or things you must not have seen, give you a little background of the political scene and where it's going, and allow you to engage with us and interact with us. So if you're out there and you love politics like these guys do, call a friend to watch with you, call a neighbor, share this page to someone else out there, and as well, don't forget, tell us where you're watching us from. We do have a little people from China, from UK, from Dubai, from London, people who keep watching this show. So please let us know where you're watching from, and then send in your questions. Don't feel afraid. Send in your comments. Give us your advice, whatever you want us to work on or talk about or engage in, and we'll always read them in real time. So let's start with a little brief hello from our activists, who are resident hosts as well, and we can start with what happened in Uganda this week.
All right, thank you so much, moderator. Greetings to our dear viewers. My name is Hillary Innocent Taylor Seguia, and I'm exceedingly honored always to be here every Saturday to talk about the status quo in our country. I am very sure beyond doubt that change is coming in our country, and we are telling dictator General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni that the time of tyranny is coming to an end very soon. So we are here to talk about different ways how we can end this dictatorship in my country, to ensure that we have a smooth transition and we have a better Uganda for all Ugandans.
All right, Sarah.
Good evening, everyone. I know it's afternoon, East Coast, and then must be good. People sleeping in Kampala.
Yep.
By the weekend, they're still awake.
They're still awake. They're preparing.
I know some of our followers really love this program, so they keep awake and come on, because it's always interactive. We read their comments, so guys, stay tuned, and Lord happened this week.
Oh yes.
We are going to break it down and share it.
All right. So, as you've seen, the political scene has been very active, as I mentioned earlier on, because, again, Uganda is the best form of entertainment. Just watching Ugandan politics is the best form of entertainment, as most of you have seen. So if you are in your home somewhere, you are at your job somewhere, this is the best show for you, because we get to just break down all the things that happened in the week for you. Now, with the topic that has been on everyone's mind, what people have been talking, what the memes, you have seen the memes, you have seen the WhatsApp statuses, everyone keeps talking about it. The former vice president, the former first female vice president of Uganda, Specioza Wandera Kazibwe, went ahead and was booed for condemning Bobby Wine, aka Honorable Chagulanyi, for attending Bishop Cyprian Moses burial and funeral. So it was a big issue, because right now he's the darling of Uganda. Anyone who comes up against him is going to, get the wrath of all Ugandans. So this week it happened to be the former president of Uganda, and we want to just see how, to you guys, so that you can, break it down for us. What happened? What was the aftermath of what happened, and why did she think it was such a good idea to, follow through with that? I'm going to start with you, Hillary.
Yes, thank you so much. Our former vice president, Specioza Wandera Kazibwe Naigaga, I think she's suffering from what to do. Because if you say that you are the one to make a roll call of who is supposed to bury which person, then that's wrong. Because in our culture, anyone can bury anybody.
It's a community
we
thing,
don't need to make roll calls to know who is supposed to bury who. And again, the Bishop Cyprian was a person of all Ugandans. So if a one lady, Specioza, claims that, because she was saying that, why would you come and bury someone you don't know? Who says that in Africa? Because in Africa we have our different cultures, and we believe in numbers. Whenever we're saying bye-bye to someone for the last time we're seeing them. So I condemn the actions that were taken by Specioza Wandera Kazibwe, and she has to apologize to Ugandans. Because first of all, she ashamed the kingdom of Busoga. It was an embarrassment to the entire kingdom, because they wouldn't expect such a thing from a person of her caliber.
True.
And again, I think, very many people have said maybe she wants to come back to the political arena.
She wants to become relevant.
Because, yes, now she's no longer relevant to Ugandans. And by the way, if you remember very well also, just the last 2 years, they wanted her to become the chairperson of the African Union. But the African leaders were saying there is no way. This lady was so corrupt to become the chairperson of the African Union. So right now she thinks she can easily use Bobby Wine to come back on map, because she has seen the likes of Sylvia Ward, they have been destroyed. The likes of Brian White, they have been destroyed. The likes of Bebe Cool, they have been destroyed. So who is she to tamper with this young man, Bobby Wine, Chagulanyi Robert Sentamu, who is going to be the next president of Uganda?
True.
So I think she should stop such nonsense. If it's time for burial, we have to respect each and everyone. And I thank the mourners, because they booed her. It was a sign to her that you crossed a line somewhere. Tell us, yes, it was crossing the line. You didn't tell us who should invite and who should chase away. So I think she learned a lesson that she would never forget in her entire life. And the mourners did a great job.
All right. Sarah, what do you have to say for what happened earlier on this week?
In Ginger, I'll start by saying, let the dead stay dead. I do not know why dead people who are dead politically keep wanting to resurrect. Kazibwe is dead politically. I'm not saying she's dead. I'm meaning she's dead politically.
Politically, yeah.
So every dead person politically wants to use Bobby Wine as a comeback. Please let her stay in her grave quietly. Not even turn around. Let her not rattle. We don't want the sound of dead people right now. Let us stay dead.
Exactly.
In Atenworship as vice president, she had the most scandals. The money for Widiba, money for dams disappeared. There was a lot of scandals in Atenworship as
a vice president, yeah.
So she's long gone, dead and forgotten. She's been dead for about 10 plus years. Why can't the dead people stay dead and let the living continue with their life? Because first of all, if you come on because they're the big, I don't know, maybe because she thought she was in Busoga and these are Basoga, they're going to, you know, applaud her and say you said something good, forgetting that this is a generation of so many young people. And when someone dies, where I come from, when someone dies on the village, one, you don't even go digging, you don't even do anything. In fact, if people see you going to the garden when someone has died, people will start backbiting you.
They're like, well, you know, things like that.
Exactly. And at the same time, in fact, I put up a poster and I said, I see millions and millions of Ugandans and people coming from abroad going to Namgongo every year. I do not know if all these people trekking to Namgongo have ever met the martyrs.
I read that, yes.
I do not know if any of the people who go to Namgongo every year to remember the martyrs that died many, many years ago have ever met these martyrs. So if people continue to go to Namgongo, the young, the old, all kinds
they
of
believe in what Namgongo represents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you do not just wake up and say, oh, you didn't even know the person. This is a public, the person who died was a public figure. The person who died was a human rights activist. So do you need an invitation later for you to go and bury? So I would say let Speciosa stay dead. She's really, really dead. Let her not disturb us. She has been peaceful in her grave. Let her stay there. I don't know. I'm looking at, maybe she's looking for a political comeback, which I know is going to be really hard. There are so many young, vibrant people in Busoga. And I'm telling you, she got the 5 minutes of fame because people had forgotten her. If she hadn't spoken up, if she hadn't stood up to even say something about Bobby Wine, I didn't know the woman was still alive. So let her stay dead. This is a generation of young people. You do not start telling us where Bobby Wine should go. Bobby Wine is a public figure. When Bobby Wine went and campaigned for Mwiru in Busoga, why didn't she say something? First of all, Bobby Wine is a darling in Busoga. He has campaigned for Mwiru, he has campaigned for Basalirwa, and he has won. And so people in Busoga love him. And Bobby Wine is beyond being an MP of Chadondo East and beyond being a musician. He's looked at as a national, now is a national political figure. So you do not start telling us where I should go to bury and where I shouldn't go. So let her stay in her grave. She's been peacefully sleeping there. Let her stay there.
All right. For everyone who's tuning in, thank you for tuning in to the Uganda Crossroads, where we discuss matters that happened in Uganda on a daily basis. Everyone who's tuning in, Emmanuel Epel, thank you. You are here in Manchester, England. You're watching us. Thank you. Princess Frida is watching. Thank you again for showing us some love, as always. Barbara Hazel is saying Specios are suffering from dementia. And on that note, just to reiterate this, the opinions and comments that are made on this show do not represent what the Uganda Crossroads is, or as a studio as a whole do not represent the opinions of Campfire TV. We are just here to present a platform where young minds and people who are engaging can come and voice their opinions on certain matters that are concerning their country. So on that note, I'll continue reading these comments. Specials are suffering from dementia. Florence Kobusinje is going on to be proactive and is saying, can you talk about all the people who are unjustly jailed, such as Stella Nyanzi, Honorable Zake Francis, etc.? Why is nobody outraged? And Kathy Tendo is going on to say that it was a public funeral, it wasn't private, which is the reason why Bobby Wine was there. Lulima Francis is saying, you're great, Hillary, thank you. We also love your mind on what's going on back on our motherland. Kaka Deringer is saying, invite silent majority to explain to me how Uganda is going to get loans on behalf of the investor in relations to building a hospital. And this is such a big issue. We'll talk about it later on in the show, or if we don't have time, we can always circle back to it. Kathy Tendo is saying, divide and rule. Bobby Wine comes from Chadondo. Why is he here? As if we need visas to go to Busoga. Again, if you guys know of anyone who's interested in the opinions of this show, wants to hear out, talk or listen to whatever is going on, please invite a friend to watch with you, share the page, and also let us know where you're watching us from. This is the big issue. Again, this is such a big issue because we want to talk about it as well. I want to hear the opinions of these two people because they're politically inclined. They know what's going on, and I want to get their take on what's going on. This topic has been in the newspapers. It has been going on for years. The issue concerning if BSJ has been a mole for Museveni. Now I want to get some clarification so that this is a topic we never have to repeat again. But now I want us to get some clarifications from the two of you. There have been pictures, you've been seeing pictures of, cartoons that have been coming out with Bobby Wine, with BSJ doing this and that. Little things that are showing that, BSJ might truly be a mole from Museveni. I want to get your opinion from the two of you. There is say that Bobby Wine's activities have been sanctioned. You know, they stopped his music earlier on in the year, so he couldn't perform. His businesses, he's literally not making money except from being a member of parliament. But BSJ, who has been the biggest opposition of all time of the Museveni government, has, you know, his petrol stations have been running throughout all this time. And, you know, all these businesses have been running. There's never been big actions called upon him except just, you know, the random police check, you know, police taking him, you know, to police to arrest him or this and this and that. But why is that so? Why is everyone out of nowhere? Why is everyone saying that? No, it's not out of nowhere. They've been saying it for years. But now that between Bobby Wine and BSJ and Museveni, this has come out in such a different light. Walk me through how this is going to play out in the next few days.
Well, to me, I would say that the actions of Kizza Besigye are going to show Ugandans. Actually, they've showed Ugandans, whether it's a mall or not. So it will depend who is interrupting these actions. Because ever since President Museveni brought back political parties in 2005, and ever since FDC was formed, it is Besigye who has been given a platform to stand as the flag bearer of the Forum for Democratic Change. So we've given them lots of opportunities to become the president of Uganda. And he has, been defeated by President Museveni. But we know that there was rigging, because President Museveni has been rigging Kizza Besigye. At least I'm sure beyond doubt, for the last 3 presidential elections, Kizza Besigye has been winning, but Museveni has been, turning results in his favor. And again, of course, those who are saying, who are raising a question like, is Kizza Besigye mole? Right now, they are right to ask such a question, because you see that Kizza Besigye's move of forming the people's government, that alone awakened the mindsets of Ugandans.
True.
So Ugandans are questioning, what's the move of this person, Kizza Besigye? Because right now, personally as Hillary, I believe Kizza Besigye has to be a backbencher, because his time has elapsed.
He has to be a mentor at this point.
Yes, he has to be a mentor. So we want to see young leaders who are going to take our country forward. Young leaders are fighting for youth issues. So for Kizza Besigye, we're saying your era has elapsed. So if we're saying Museveni must go, even old politicians have to sit back. So Kizza Besigye, Wewu Muze, sit down. So Otunu, it's aside. You hear Otunu nowadays? You don't hear him. Mao, no, but now it's high time, no, but now also mentored young leaders take over the leadership of DP. Yep. Because we're saying they're doing the same mistakes. Look at CP, Conservative Party of Ken Luchams. We know only one man, Ken Luchams. I don't know the platform, the structure of Conservative Party. So who else do you know in Conservative Party besides Ken Luchams? Ken Luchams. So Ken Luchams has to do the same thing. Also step aside, bring young leaders with new ideas, take our country forward. So Kizza Besigye, now look at the government he made. Over 60 ministers. But this government, is it functional? What are they doing? Kizza Besigye is just dividing opposition more, which is a danger to our political dispensation. Because if we are saying as Ugandans, we are tired of dividing ourselves every time and again, and we're saying this is the time we should reunite, because we've got someone who is appealing to all political parties, because this person has no, bad history. So Bobby Wine is appealing to those who are in NRM, is appealing to those who are in DP, is appealing to those who are in JEMA, also those who are in other FDC or other political parties. But again, Kizza Besigye is coming up with a structure that is, almost the same as that of the People Power movement. Then you start wondering, what's going on? Something's wrong with this, with Kizza Besigye. Because, well, some may say he's trying to do roll call to see who is part of the FDC and who is not part of the FDC. But again, that's the role of Amriyat, because Amriyat right now is the president of FDC, not Kizza Besigye. So Kizza Besigye is doing those things as who? Let him sit at the back and give guidelines. Now we want Amriyat to be seen, because right now Amriyat is the face of FDC. But whenever you continue bringing yourself in front of cameras as the president of FDC, Yet people said enough is enough. That's wrong for Kizza Besigye. And I believe Kizza Besigye watches our show. If he doesn't watch it, then whoever is a friend to Kizza Besigye, they should reach our message to him. Stop whatever you're doing, because you're dividing the opposition more and more. This is a time where we want to see all political parties coming together on the same table with one agenda to defeat dictator Museveni. But if the guy is saying that now Elias is his deputy, Elias Lukwago has conflicts in DP. Because right now DP is also in conflicts. They are saying you can't serve in two governments. Elias Lukwago is serving in the NRM government because the Lord Mayor, and is serving in the post government. So what fracas is this? So that those who say Kizza Besigye is a mole, I mean, they are right to call him such a ludicrous. Because you see, now that they tell us they have Betty Namboze Bachireke, also part of the post government. But again, we know Betty Namboze is in DP, and Kizza Besigye is dividing these people. Ken Luchams is in CP. And again, we see messages bring him in people's government. So, where are the functions of people's government? When are they working? Because now today we hear that there is a quarantine in Tororo. Have you had any press briefing from the people's government? No. They are silent. So where are they? Today they tell us Honorable Zake is in jail. Where is the president of the People's Movement, the People's Assembly, to come and address such issues? Because Zake was in a struggle, and his rights are being abused by this government of Mr. Museveni. And Kizza Besigye, very comfortable, safe seated in Kasangati. Can you come out and address such issues if you're not a mole, to prove people that I'm not a mole, I'm working for all Ugandans? As Kizza Besigye, you should look at Bobby Wine as you know, a young person with a vision to take our country forward. You should convince yourself that my time has elapsed as an opposition face. Right now, as Ugandans and mainly as millennials, we are saying whoever has been given a chance as our elder to take our country forward, and they've failed to get to the Oval Office, your time has come to an end. Nobody is going to convince us that we shall line behind you. And as Bobby Wine said, we are now starting to see your actions. And your actions are going to tell Ugandans whether you're moles or not. So for me, it's a matter of time.
It's a matter.
It's a matter of time.
Sarah, what do you say? What should be in light of the scandal breaking out, this whole thing being everywhere? What do you recommend? What if you had been in that, what would you be saying to Besigye right now? What should he do following the scandals that are just breaking out? Because this is, he should take a note that he has been around. He has all this experience. Why is this experience not helping him? What should he know right now that he should do in the next few weeks? What do you think should happen?
What I think, you see, these politicians, when they get into political positions, they fail to understand and know that there is time is going to come when you have to groom someone else, and that's what President Museveni is suffering from. Right now, if you ask him, do you have even a successor? He doesn't have anyone. The only person he thinks about who can lead Uganda is himself. Even when he's dead, he thinks his ghost is going to come back and lead Uganda. So you have Dr. Besigye. Look at him when he was in I don't know whether he's still in FDC or this is a pressure group within FDC. When he was in FDC as president of FDC, he ran for presidency. When Mugisha Muntu became president, he denied him a chance to run. He ran, and I think the breakaway between Mugisha Muntu and FDC began from there, because Mugisha Muntu had potential, and there are people who believe in him, but he was denied a chance to stand. And now there is a new Opoa, the new president. But the new president of FDC has been completely dormant, that even their party is going downhill. And maybe there I'll give kudos to Dr. Besigye, because he still makes FDC become relevant. I do not know why they had to choose a president who is so dormant that there is nothing coming out of FDC. FDC, basically the only person who will help FDC not die a natural death is the Besigye still being existent. But I don't know whether he has formed another party within FDC or he just wants, because maybe he's fearing that maybe he just wants to resurrect himself and come up in People's Assembly as and stand for presidency again instead of using FDC. But what I see about him is completely selfish. This is a time where he would be grooming someone. At a certain point, we thought Dr. Besigye is going to groom someone. And maybe they would be going around doing sensitization campaign, mobilizing.
Yeah.
But
because we all thought that he would be grooming Bobby Wine, because that's how it looked like in the beginning.
All what he's doing right now, he's gearing himself on coming back. And you see what I don't understand, that the double standards. I have watched him on a number of interviews, and he keeps saying that whoever thinks you're going to win him 73 a ballot, you're wasting time. What is his plan? Why did he stand for 4 consecutive times if he did not believe that a winning 3 bout would make sense? So I don't really understand that. I don't know what their strategy is. I don't know if they're planning to go back and start a guerrilla war. They're starting an uprising. I do not know what their strategy is, but it doesn't make sense. They don't believe in the ballot. I saw Ingrid Tulin, I've forgotten the other name. The other time she made a comment on Facebook and said she was trying to imply that maybe she feels sorry for those who are telling guys to go and get in Dagamontu. But Ingrid stood also and she was defeated. That means she did not get enough votes. So how are you, because the first thing, if you want a democratic vote, people have to vote. Unless you have another way out, an uprising, or you're planning to start a war, people have to vote. And now, you know, Besigye has given himself away so much that now people even who didn't believe he's the mole have now become to believe he's the mole. First, and people have said none of Besigye's businesses has ever been affected.
Have ever been closed?
Yeah. They are all function. They've never been closed. But everyone who comes up to fight Museveni in a bad way, what happened to Chigundu? Chigundu of Greenland Bank, his bank was kicked down.
Yep.
So his business, and these are things Ugandans have not even paid attention to for a very long time. But Dr. Besigye's business have never been affected. They're very functional. And on top of that, you see, it is making us believe that for all these 4 times, Dr. Besigye has been fooling us to give Museveni a leeway to lead Uganda. I've listened to Tamale Mirundi where he has mentioned on a number of times that the mole, that people are choosing Mugisha to be the mole, but the mole is Dr. Besigye, because and he said, one time he mentioned and said Besigye picks his money from State House by himself. That's why there are no mafias to double deal him. So I think at this point in time, we know this is, you cannot take it away. Besigye, Bobby Wine has been mentored by Dr. Besigye to a big extent. I don't think Bobby Wine has been singing about socio-economic justice for a very long time, but I don't think he had the zeal to join politics until when he saw how Dr. Besigye was persecuted. But if it's persecution that is paid for, it has worked for him. But at the end of the day, so many things are unveiling themselves right now, because I've seen on different occasions where he's trying to attack, you know, the People Power movement. Where, for example, when he mentioned things like, you know, they've started using cold words like tuebedemo, you know, and it is really showing us who he is. But again, we are not going to be distracted. Dr. Besigye has tried 4 times, and he has failed. Whether he won and the vote was stolen from him, that was him. Let's try with a new person, because he has tried. And you know, when you look at Dr. Besigye Museveni's story, they always go back to the bickering. They know each other. He was his personal doctor. They come from the bush. We want to say government. Have history, yeah. They have history. We want to say government that has no military rule, that is clean from,
has no vendetta for each other, because they're natural enemies with one woman in between. They have so much history.
So much history between them. Most of us have not been. I've never seen war. I've never seen any war.
That's true.
So it is it really bothers us when you have people taking us, oh, we fought, there was. So we've never seen that. We've never seen that. I do not know where people fought from. I don't know where people killed each other.
We hear the names, but no one has been there. That's true.
So it is. We want someone fresh, and this is a generation of 75% young people. The young people we want. I would be very glad to see Besigye grooming, helping
someone else succeed him. Yeah.
Okay, if he does not support Bobby Wine, because literally all these guys look at Bobby Wine as an outsider, and at a certain point I believe they wanted Bobby Wine to stand behind them. because Besigye would be so glad if Bobi Wine went and stood behind him. But at this point in time, Bobi Wine, I think then he would be able to do it. But since the Arua saga, Bobi Wine became so big. He's an elephant that cannot fit in a polythene bag. So people are literally looking at him as a small boy, a small man, but now he's an elephant. So even Besigye, Bobi Wine is so big for Besigye, Bobi Wine is so big for Museveni. So, and I want Ugandans right now, yes, we've discovered, we know it. Unless you're blind, everything has been unveiled and it really clearly shows that Besigye is a more. Because if you do not want Museveni, if we are saying people get your national ID, we are going to vote, and you say, oh, if you think you're going to, if Bobi Wine thinks he's going to take away Museveni through a vote, he's wasting time. What are your alternatives? Solution are you? You're not giving us an alternative. You're not giving us an alternative. I've heard them say, oh, you're going to have an uprising. At this point in time, he said Museveni is going to go by 2019. And I'm telling you, you're going to finish 2019 when Museveni is still in power. So these scary tactics of making us believe and think, oh, Museveni is not going, is going. We need action. So, and one thing you must know, it is very hard. Why sometimes it's been very easy for Museveni to win a vote is because many people don't vote. For me, the first time I voted was 2016. I'd never voted. Never. The first time I voted was 2016. There are so many people who have been taking voting, especially the urban youth. Don't take voting seriously. Yeah. They stay home. So
people in the village who are really on top of it.
So people need to come out in big numbers and vote. It is very hard to steal a block vote. It is very hard to steal a block vote. And I'll take you back to elections where Museveni has highly gone and campaigned. For example, the issue of Alua. Kassiano Wadri was in prison. Bobi Wine was in prison. How come Kassiano Wadri managed to win when he was in prison? They had everything, because if the person contesting is not even there, and most of his campaign agents had been arrested, so there was no one to defend his vote. But what happened? He got a big block vote. It is very hard to steal a block vote. Where people have voted 80% for one individual, it is really hard to steal that vote. So Kassiano Wadri managed to win despite the fact he was in prison, because it was people voted in huge numbers for him, that even if they tried to alter the vote, it would not make Tiperu go through. So people need to come back and vote in big numbers. For this point in time, we know, unless Dr. Besigye shows us something different, we know he's the mole. Let's not focus on him. Dr. Besigye's generation is almost gone. This is a generation of young people, 30s and below.
I want to ask to segue into that. Earlier on, as you mentioned, I think Hillary also mentioned, we mentioned FDC President Norbert Mao, and the little bickering that they had earlier on, where they went on to call each other names with numbers. That they, right to call Lukwago numbers of watermelon and then pumpkin. What are we learning from something like that? Because we shouldn't be seeing something like that. By this point in time, those two, this whole committee should know better. What are we learning from? What are they trying to show the people out there who are keeping their eyes on the political scene? And
you see what happens in opposition politics. Sometimes they are not any different. Maybe the people in NRM, they fear more their boss, or they fear to lose the bread, which people in opposition do not have. Because I saw this woman, Mama Mabira, on national television saying, oh, Museveni is coming back. I look at this man, I'm like, if I was next, I would slap her and go to jail. I'm like, this woman, their conscience, their everything of them has been bought off. So when you see people like, because I've seen Namboze is in People's Assembly right now. She has a position, she's, I don't know which position she's holding, People's Assembly, but in DP. And this kind of destruction that is coming up in political parties right now should not distract anyone who believes in people power movement, because that's what happens. Some people have been, because if I don't know whether Numbers has been paid as well because they're collecting money from Dr. Besigye, I do not know. So if we allow them to distract us, for us we should stay out of, because we would be, and I'm telling you this, and I'm glad Bobi Wine did not join them, because it would be a big disappointment, Bobi Wine joining them.
Included in it.
Exactly. It was very important for him to first study the situation, see how everything is going before he joins them. And at this point in time, the way things are being structured and the way things are, Bobi Wine, you're good enough standing on your own. you do not need to join, because at this point in time they're fighting. You're standing alone with everyone supporting you, and we have, for us, our focus should be on President Museveni. We should not focus on who is fighting with them. They can as well continue calling each other pumpkins, tomatoes, mangoes, whatever they want. Numbers can continue exchanging words with Mao.
What's your saying to what?
For me, like I see the genesis.
This is like a kindergarten of kids, eh?
Oh well, that's politics. And for me, as I believe, conflicts are always healthy in such scenarios, like in political arenas or anywhere, even in the working place. If you have conflicts, at times they're good. They can help you like achieve different targets. So you could see the genesis of Mao's diction. Because one, Mao as the president of Democratic Party, he was worried because of the actions of Kizza Besigye, because we've been talking about Kizza Besigye, whether it's a mole or not. So if you are Kizza Besigye and you are affiliated to FDC, but again you drag other members from a different party to your own pressure group, then it raises eyebrows. Why are you not engaging the president? Because one, if you engage the president and he's not buying your ideologies, then find a way of solving such issue amicably. But again, because if Mao says that Namboze and Elias Lukwago are watermelons,
pumpkins.
Yeah, well, there is a meaning, because he's saying that because DP has a green color, yes, and you see watermelons are green on top. But again, inside they're red. Yeah, so he was like, you can't be both. Tell us, stop double dealing. Tell us that whether you're affiliated to DP or you're affiliated to FDC.
Boldly come out and let us know what's going on.
Because that's what we want as Ugandans. And that's what we want, because if you want to know if someone's a mole or not, people have to know where they belong. In Uganda, we say, whether you're DP, stick to DP. If you're UPC, stick to your UPC.
Because I think Ugandans have grown up in that.
Stick to your CP. And we know that, yes, that's Ken Luchams in CP. And again, look at also Namboze. She couldn't, wait for Mao to take all the spotlight. So Namboze had to retaliate and call Norbert Mao a pumpkin, because pumpkins, they're also green on top but yellow inside. So it means Mao is DP maybe during daytime, and at night is NRM, because yellow is for NRM. And Namboze could be also right, because you see in the previous election of 2016, Norbert Mao joined the coalition of TDA that was led by the former Premier, John Patrick Mbabazi. So to some members of DP, they were not buying that move. And again, they're also saying that Norbert Mao is playing double standards, because if he allowed the youth minister, Chinji, because Chinji was backed up from the Uganda Kingdom for that position. So if Norbert Mao okayed that move of Chinji, a DP member, to become the youth minister in the NRM government led by dictator General Museveni, and right now Norbert Mao has never said anything negative about that move, then there are double standards. So again, maybe you could say that both of them are wrong and both of them are right. But for us as Ugandans, mainly as millennials, for us, we want to see a united opposition fighting against one dictator.
Because this is not healthy. This is not a healthy argument. No,
the reason why I say it's healthy, it's going to tell us who belongs where.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So Elias Lukwago has to sit down and think of these things wisely. Should I go back to DP, or should I stay with Kizza Besigye? Because you've seen Elias Lukwago is like the handbag of Kizza Besigye. Wherever you see Kizza Besigye, Elias Lukwago is there.
It's always there.
Yeah, so he should also make up his mind very fast. Stop confusing Ugandans. I mean, if you're always moving Kizza Besigye here and there, then just make a move. Say, I'm done, give away your ticket back to the president of DP or the secretary general of DP. Your ticket is here, then affiliate yourself to FDC permanently. no one is going to blame you. Of course, we've seen very many political prostitutes, but we don't blame them. So we know that with politics today, you're here, tomorrow you're here. It's okay.
And it's expected,
yes,
you know.
Just like soccer. Today I support Manchester United, tomorrow I'll be supporting Chelsea.
And then you'll be bought by the same team you were
against. Free entry and free exit.
All right.
That's politics. So this business of saying Ugandans should stop, let's put these people on pressure.
All right.
To ask them, where do you belong? Elias Lukwago, tell us where do you belong? So this business of Nambos, they're coming out and writing open letters to social media, it's not going to help also. Address the key issues. If you want to meet your party president, Nambos and Elias Lukwago, have dialogue. Dialogue is going to help you, come up with a solution that is a win-win situation for both parties. Other than saying I belong here, I belong here. How about people like us who are people power, soldiers? What should we say? Should we call ourselves beetroots? Because with beetroots they're red.
They're red inside.
Even if you touch it, you see color red remains on your hands. So for us, maybe we shall call ourselves beetroots.
Nangoma Jamila is saying they're just wasting our time. The difference between the traditional opposition and the ruling class and party is zero. It's very good that we did not that Bobi Wine did not join them. And then Zekaria Kadri is saying what's happening in Uganda political scene is generation change. The next generation is fed up of this regime and the moles in opposition. Tina is pretty much reiterating what you said. They're saying, why shout on social media as if someone whose ass has been boxed by Gorilla? Wait for 2021 and you will know that Museveni has never won any election other than in rigging. Should any election be held at a presidential level, Bobby will go through, but the Electoral Commission will shortchange Bobi Wine without doubt. And then we have people watching as well. Flash Flavia, thank you for watching. Ellen Prizo is saying, as we focus on planning and preparing for the forthcoming 2021 general elections, we shouldn't forget about the constitutional amendment appeal judgment due to be pronounced by the court. That will determine whether there will be elections in 2021 or not. I think we had also forgotten about that.
I've been asking such a question, like, are we going to have elections or not? Because actually, Ugandans should watch closely the elections that are being held today in Nigeria. Because you know that they were supposed to carry out the elections last Saturday.
And that's
but on that very day, Buhari, the president, said, no, let's postpone them. On that very day, when people are already in queues, they are ready to vote, and you say, I'm postponing elections for one more week. So you see how African leaders want to sustain themselves in power.
And he's a candidate. You're a candidate running. You have no mandate to...
At that point in time, you shouldn't be having that much power.
No, you don't even have much power. You're a candidate.
Exactly.
You cannot start...
The same traits Museveni is going to use also, the tactics Museveni is going to employ in 2021. So we have to be vigilant, watch closely what's happening in Nigeria. Because you never know, maybe Buhari was waiting for software from maybe abroad to ensure that once the software comes, then the results will be turning in my favor at the end of the day. Because we know very much that Buhari fears his former vice president, Atiku. And also there is a young leader called Sowori. So Sowori is also putting pressure on Buhari to go. Just like the way you see Bobi Wine. For them, they have a young leader called Sowori. So Ugandans, watch closely what's happening in Nigeria. We shall borrow maybe some skills of how to fight for.
All right, one more
before he goes away, there is someone I wanted to respond to here. Benazo, he said, whoever does, so everyone who disagrees with our strategies becomes a mole. Definitely not. There are so many people who, our target as people who believe in change should be to put up all ways or systems that effect change. For example, if you're telling people right now that, it is very important to get your national ID because it's the only way you can vote. And then our fellow opposition members are telling people, no, they're not important. So exactly, that's where people begin to doubt and say, who exactly are you? What is the alternative? Do you want us to go to the bush? Do you want us to have an uprising? You do not tell people exactly what they should do. But the safest way democratically to change government is people voting, of which it has happened in different parts of the world. It has happened. You see what is happening in Venezuela. Pressure is being put on the incumbent president. You didn't win the vote, and he's going to go. However much he's persisting, he's going to go. He did not win. I've seen pressure from America, from other countries. So if Ugandans know the importance of changing government, because the problem is the generation you're talking to does not understand war. The only thing they can understand properly is getting a voter's card and go and vote. You can mobilize them and sensitize them towards that. If you're talking to the generation of Dr. Besigye and talking of starting a guerrilla war, they understand such.
Yep.
So you should know exactly which generation you're talking to. If yes, our strategy is telling people go and get your voter's card. It is one way that can be used to effect change, and we give them examples of Arua, of Bojiri, of Jinja, of Chadondo East, and other areas where opposition has won and with a big margin. So if you are opposition and you do not, even the easiest way to change government, you're fighting it, then who are you? You're not opposition, then who are you? Then you're against us.
For everyone tuning in, thank you so much for tuning. Please continue to share the page, continue to follow the page, also continue letting us know where you're shooting, where you're watching the show from. Let's go to this next topic, because I know it has been garnering so much attention. The CRJ 900, the plane that's showcasing Uganda, that has Uganda, the Ugandan flag, was launched earlier on this week. I don't know whether this is going to be considered a success. I mean, it should be a success, but after 33 years of rule, is this all we have to show? Is where my district comes from? I want to know how this is going to impact the community in any way. You're bringing a plane after 33 years. We should have done more than this at this point.
For me, I saw it and I wasn't excited, and I saw people comparing the other planes, Rwanda and Kenya, and ours looked like an old matatu on the road. You know, those taxis that drive in the villages where there is a cow on top. I'm telling you, and I'm Ugandan. I love Uganda, but I cannot board it.
Because it's an 80-seater, I think, 80-seater.
Yeah. And it's surprising for 33 years. That's what Uganda can showcase. And I see Ugandans clapping their hands and excited. Oh, I'm telling you, go to other countries, they have much better than that. Those are, by the way, planes like that are the planes that do domestic flights in the United States.
Yeah.
Those are domestic. You go to countries that are developed, those are domestic flights that fly from, let's say, Massachusetts to California. Yes, they cannot even, they don't go outside the country. They are for short range domestic flights. And I wonder how far it's going to go. But there's one thing I was discussing with someone, and I was told one of Museveni's daughter is heading the alleviations. I think that is supposed to be patience. But from the information I got, that the person who is going to be heading the alleviation failed exams.
Which exams are we specifying?
They have to go through alleviation exams, and she was trained. This is, someone gave me some intel. She was trained in the school of Mike Mukula. The school of Mike Mukura, the alleviation school. That's where she was taking her training. And the teacher, there is a particular exam that, because for you to be able to head, you must have had training in terms of how airports operate and all that. But I'm being told that she failed all the exams she sat for, until when Janet went to the teacher who was teaching the exam, the particular paper she was failing for her to pass, and said, I want her to pass. So don't be shocked if you see that Patience is the one leading the Uganda, how is it called? Uganda Airlines, because you must be qualified in terms of, you must get training in terms of how the operations of an airlines and all that. Don't be surprised. But the information you should get, she failed the exams, and the teacher who was teaching that particular paper was forced to make her pass.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes, for me also, like the first question to the government of Uganda, Uganda Airlines, where was the name Uganda Airlines? Because last year they told us that someone else, had registered the name Uganda Airlines. So they went to the registry of companies and they registered the name.
We registered
and
it.
they were demanding over 1 billion Ugandan shillings
for them to use that name.
How did they get back the name? And from whom did they get that name back? So the government has to first tell us those answers, because we still want to know, was it at a zero cost, or we still wasted taxpayers' money to reclaim back the name of our national asset? Because you see, Uganda Airlines was first established in 1976. That was during the year of Idi Amin Dada. Amin was a dictator, but he was working. So Amin is like the Kagame of today, Paul Kagame.
Yeah.
The guy worked on infrastructure. He had roads that lasted for years and years. He had hospitals that were working. He built Uganda houses or embassies in foreign countries. If you go to New York and you see Uganda House, it was strategically located just 13 steps from the UN headquarters.
Oh, yes.
You're reaching to Uganda House. That was the work of Idi Amin Dada. He was illiterate, but he had natural intelligence. But these people who went to school, they are disappointing us. Museveni went to Dar es Salaam University in Tanzania, and look at the things he's doing. It's a mess. It's in Museveni's regime that Uganda Airlines collapsed. Which year was that? 2001, 2005? I wrote it somewhere here. I think it was 2000, 2005, 2001. That's when Uganda Airlines collapsed. So Amin established Uganda Airlines 1976. It started operations in 1977. So from 77 to 2001, it was working. That means it worked during Amin's era. It also worked during Obote II's era. Then during Tito Okello's era, Binai Issa Lule's era, and during Museveni's era. But Museveni made sure that it fails. Who has killed all the parastatals in our country today? It's one man, Mr. Museveni. What's going on with this guy? Uganda Dairy Corporations, nowhere to be seen. The coffee marketing board, nowhere to be seen. Look at the Uganda Railway, nowhere to be seen. Then someone is going to ask a question. Are airplanes priorities to Ugandans' problems, or is it just a luxury? Who is going to
how far can it go?
Because
how far? What is it?
I've never known that. How far is this?
Look at the affordability of that plane, because they're telling you they made a Bombardier jet, a CRJ 900, and they're telling you it seats only 88 people. 88. So they tell you it seats 76 in the economy class, and it seats 12 people in the first class. Now, this plane is so small. So they're going to make 4 Bombardiers, and they're saying also they're going to make maybe like 2 Airbuses. So they're telling us that the government of Uganda is going to spend 1.3 trillion Ugandan shillings.
Where is this money coming from? Who's
buy
funding
these planes? Of course, they are lies. Museveni can't buy the 6 planes. You crucify me if he buys the 6 planes before 2021. That's a lie. Because he told us these things in 2016 while he was campaigning. Even years before. But we don't see these things. So by 2021, if Museveni buys the 6 planes, you crucify me. There is no way. Now, they are telling us that the 1.6 trillion is not coming from our money we've saved or revenues. It's coming from China. Exim Bank, Ugandans now start crying. Exim Bank of China is borrowing us 1.3 trillion Ugandan shillings to buy these planes, which are not priorities to our problems right now. You know what's happening in the US today? This House Representative Ocasio, she's bringing a green agenda of trying to find how we get transport means that conserve our environment than burning fossils to destroy the environment. So you saw how they stopped the electric train in California, because they said with the project they're coming up with, it's not going to collaborate with their agenda. So Mr. Museveni is telling us he's buying us 6 Bombardiers. But if you look at the history of all the African planes we have, they are making losses. Today Kenyans are happy that they can fly from Nairobi, they can have breakfast in Nairobi with Kenya Airlines or KQ, and then they have dinner in New York, but they are operating at losses. If you go to Ethiopian Airlines also, and you look at their statistics, they are saying that each and every year they're operating at losses. If you go to Air Rwanda, it's operating at losses. Go to the one in Nigeria, they're operating at losses. So who are we as Ugandans to say that we're going to get profits from this investment? Because first of all, we have a debt burden. Now, on our national debt burden of
This is already-
over 41 trillion, you're adding on 1.3 trillion as a debt. Ugandans can't afford to fly in these planes. Actually, they are telling you that we don't have the cash flow. So it's only the bourgeoisie, those in the middle class, those affiliated with the government,
But how
who
often do
are
they
going
even
to
fly?
to be flying, maybe like to Kenya, maybe to Johannesburg, maybe to Abuja or Lagos. But you know they can't fly from Kampala to.
How
Greece or
often?
to
How
Boston.
often do they fly? Because if you use on a number of occasions when I was traveling to Europe, I used to use Turkish Airlines. Turkish Airlines goes through Rwanda. It does a pickup because they have an Airbus, a good one. They go through Rwanda, they do the pickup, and then come to Uganda. By the time you board it in Uganda, it's half full already, or it's even full.
So-
the seats remaining are for the people boarding from Entebbe. So basically, they make that trip, even when you're coming back. Because how many people fly through Uganda every day?
Yes, so that's
With the
that's
mentality,
one thing that the
'cause-
government has failed to understand. Because you see, they're telling us that out of three Ugandans who fall out of the poverty cycle,
poverty line, yeah.
2 of them are likely to fall back in a very short time. So Ugandans can't afford such planes.
Is this just going to be a show? Because if they should have done this, they should have done their homework and said, you know what, there's no need for 6 planes right now, knowing
Yeah.
that our poverty line is at this level,
So-
knowing that the number of people who can ride is lower than this, you're going to be riding at losses. Why are you saying you're going to commission
They were
6?
operating on pressure. You see, last year in December, 23rd December of 2018, that was the deadline of the memorandum of understanding we made with this Canadian company to make us the airplanes. And they said, because Uganda, during that time, Uganda deposited $800,000 for the purchase of the 6 planes. So the Canadians say that if by 23rd of December 2018, you don't pay the amount, then you're going to lose the deposit. So Museveni had to rush to China, to Exim Bank of China, and borrow 1.3 trillion Ugandan shillings, so that they can save the $800,000 that was deposited in this company.
What is
But
the plan
company
to
was
pay
also
back all
putting
this money?
other terms that if you don't pay on time, you're also going to you're gonna get skyrocketed prices if you come back to renegotiate with us on the deals that we're giving you on these planes. So now Ugandans have to start crying. So we have to ask President Museveni with his government officials who brought this plan. How are we going to service this plane? Because they're telling you also they've just taken only 2 pilots to learn how to fly this plane. But they're telling you that of the 6 planes we have, we need 36 pilots to be trained to fly these planes. So they've just sent only 2 pilots to Canada to learn how to fly this Bombardier jet they've just made. So what's going on?
It's
with
a
that?
laughable situation.
So now the government has to, because what were they waiting to train even these pilots?
I know.
Do you have to first wait for the Bombardier to be tested? What's going on? So if they bring the Airbus, that means Museveni again is going to train, to send another delegation of pilots to Canada to be trained.
No, but do you have pilots in Uganda?
We do have pilots
a pilot
at-
school.
Is it working?
About, yes, in the northern Uganda. But what are the results? That means we are teaching, but we don't have good maybe like feedback or products from that school. So now we have to know also what's the strategy.
Sarah, why
Did they
don't you
consult
conclude?
from Kenya to see how are they doing it? Because you see, with Kenya, yes, they are making losses, but again, at the end of the day, the tourism sector of Kenya
It's
It's
contributing
booming.
for that.
a lot towards their gross domestic product. But if you look at our gross domestic product, the contribution from tourism, yes, it's a lot, but it's very low. Then you look at also Rwanda, because today you see that Rwanda is promoting its tourism on an international stage. That if you are watching English Premier League and you're watching Arsenal, you're going to watch there just says with
Have
the word
visit Rwanda.
Visit Rwanda. So if you are someone who supports Arsenal, of course you go to Google because you know how it works here in diaspora. You just go very fast to Google, visit Rwanda. Then you fall to the website of Rwanda. Then you're going to create a traffic on the websites of Rwanda, of tourism websites of Rwanda. Then in the following day, you're going to see tourists, going to Rwanda. And the political environment in Rwanda is safe. But look at today in Uganda, is the political environment safe?
You're unsure of how that
Sarah
works.
has told you that Ugandans have, negative mindset about these airplanes.
Which is what I want.
She doesn't trust them.
So
she can't board it.
I want to hear what Sarah has to finish up on
that. It sensitizes Ugandans. First of all, to appreciate what they've done, and also to reaffirm to Ugandans that they are not going to carry the burden of this debt of the 1.3 trillion the government of Uganda borrowed from Exim Bank. So they have to tell us also how are we going to service this loan,
on this plan.
what's the profit, what's the interest rate on this profit, and what's the payment, time frame of this loan, so that we know where this government is taking us, whether we have a clear vision or we are being left in a sort of quagmire.
True. Sarah, your conclusion on this topic, and then we can go to the next.
If I'm not mistaken, this is not the first time we are buying jets.
Yes.
Is it? No. You remember the Mivumba airplanes we bought and brought to Kampala? So, you see, it's always scary because there is nothing, when the government tries to do something, there is nothing they've ever put in their energy and effort to do and comes out with quality. Look at the bridge. Don't tell me in just a month or two.
We started having potholes.
You had to redo the bridge. That was means shoddy work was done. So I'm telling you, it is going to take them a lot of time, because the worst death you can have is dying in space. A lot of time, because and not because people don't want to believe, people don't want to support Uganda, but it's because of what Uganda or what the government has already been showcasing in terms of the things they do. They do substandard work. You're going to find that someone is eating a lot of money from those planes as Njawulo.
True.
So you do not want to risk your life because someone pocketed big amounts of money. And if Museveni or the government wants people to start believing in those, in using the jet, let them start boarding it themselves first. We want to see ministers on that flight. We want to see Museveni himself, instead of using his, for once let him try to board public. You've seen presidents. I saw the other time Kenyatta of Uhuru.
Yeah.
He was on a plane and he was in economy class. So he was, yes, he's gonna start with boarding himself. He's gonna start with putting his life on the lifeline to show that it is safe.
I'm pretty sure there are so many cartoons will come out.
Yeah.
If the captain of this plane can help us.
Yeah, but
because
come around. And the other thing is, if they're borrowing money from Exim Bank, as he has explained, so who does the planes belong to?
They belong to Chinese.
They belong to Chinese until when you pay back this 1.3 billion trillion.
Yeah.
And if you've bought, and if someone has eaten money off these planes, that means you didn't get the standard or the quality planes. They are going to break down at any one point in time, and who is going to suffer with that debt? It is me, it is my mother, it is my auntie, it is the poor Ugandans who are going to suffer to pay up that debt. So they've done very much in really doing substandard work. And I'm going to bring, I was reading an article where the government gave land to an investor, and then the government has to give money to the investor to build, is it an hospital or a school?
It was a hospital. So you get the land to the investor, then you ask the investor to pay you to...
No, it is really, you give money, you give land. Which land has been occupied, you take off people land and you give it to an investor, and then you have to give investor money to invest. So who are investors in this country? Who are investors in Uganda? Because it seems like the word investors has lost meaning.
Has lost meaning.
Has lost meaning. Who is giving this money out? You give people land, public land, and then on top of that you give them money. I'm telling you, 33, this country, the mess it's going in, it's already in a ditch, and it cannot come out. It cannot come out of the ditch.
Precisely, also to add on what Sarah said. For me, I think as Ugandans, what we were expecting from this government to do is to ensure that they build a railway system that Ugandans can afford. Because look at the Chilembe Railway. It was transferring copper from Kasese to Kenya, Nairobi. To Mombasa? What happened?
Yeah.
It was built 100 years ago. 100 years ago. But these things have collapsed during the regime of dictator General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
By the way, they will generate a lot of money.
Why can't he, build such things? That we used to have buses that were brought with Kampala
UTC.
Yeah, I remember those ones.
Also, the
UTC buses.
UTCs, yes. Where are they? It is this regime that has made all those things collapse. So where do they get the guts to tell us that this Bombardier jet is going to work? How many Ugandans are going to fly in it? Because we've said Ugandans have no cash flow.
Now,
because if a Ugandan is struggling to buy a packet of salt in a day, then where is he going to get 500,000 Ugandan shillings to fly, maybe to fly from Kampala to Arua? And look at also the airstrips. Do we have enough? You don't even have a
standard airport. You don't have it.
This is crazy because we thought we had an opportunity of hosting Chogam. So we thought maybe we're going to get money to renovate this Entebbe Airport, international airport. But who swindled the money? It is Sam Kutesa. He ate all the money of renovating Entebbe Airport. Then we are wondering what's going on. We go to Jinja. Which airstrip do we have? Are we going to follow in the airstrip of Gaddafi barracks? There is no way because people fear the barracks, they fear the military nowadays. So who doesn't fear to be tortured by the military? Because we know this military is working for the government.
All right.
We are there. So the only thing this government is planning with this Bombardier jet is targeting the oil. The oil in Masindi. So they are planning to transport only Chinese who are coming from Shanghai, from Beijing straight to Masindi. And they are building there an airstrip. Because they know now oil production is going to start.
It's going to start there.
So Ugandans, this is the deal. Let them not lie to you that a poor villager in Mukomansimbi, Nakapiripiriti, Busembatia, Kabula Maido, in Pakwach, in Intungamu, you're going to board that plane. There is no way. It's only foreigners
who are going to
come from China, and they go straight to Masindi, where our oil reserves are. They park these jets, they fly them back to China. So Ugandans, watch out.
Everyone who's watching us, please feel free to just give us your opinions on what's going on in Uganda. Regards to the jet that was brought in as well. What are your thoughts? What do you think is going to happen? What do you recommend? What's your opinion on what's going to happen? Do you think you're going to be among those majority who's actually going to get a chance to sit in that plane? Tell us your thoughts online. Write to us. We'll read all your messages online. We'll also make sure we reply to your comments and your commentary online. Before we head off, before we say goodbye to you guys, we have one more topic that I wanted to just touch on because it has been an ongoing. We've been talking about it for the last few months and it's been such a big issue. The Kosase Bank of Uganda probe was concluded and recommendations were put out there. Much to the disappointment of a lot of people who actually thought that this was going to be, it was just going to turn out differently. But as we know that this is Uganda, things don't always happen the way we expected. We always expect. What are your recommendations? What do you think is going to happen regarding this issue?
Of course, for someone who was just aside from the influence of the Kusase committee in this era of Abdu Kantunga as the chairman, they will be flabbergasted by the recommendations they came up with. But again, for people who have been following such events, even during the era of Samuel Nganda, where he was chairing this same committee, they've been seeing no actions that have been taken after the recommendations have been tabled before the parliament. Because we know very well that it's only the president of Uganda who has the mandate to implement these recommendations. So if you look at the Bank of Uganda probe, of course, this year it was, or this time around during the leadership of Abdu Kantuntu, it was different. Because they managed to bring the governor of Bank of Uganda to parliament and testify about the fraud that was engaged during the process of defuncting these 70 banks. So if you see that 70 banks were defunct under the leadership or the era of dictator General Kaguta Museveni, did you just know that our economy has been in a crisis since 1986? So this present one, he will never fire Mutebile. Because even Mutebile time and again has been bragging that nobody is going to fire me except God.
Okay, so who's going to be inducted
and
in
again,
this case?
if you look at the recommendations, just like the Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago, who was the attorney of the deceased Sulaiman Chigundu, because Sulaiman Chigundu was also once the governor of Bank of Uganda. Actually, he was the first
one
governor of Bank of Uganda during the leadership of Mr. Museveni in 1986. So when he went away, they got someone else. I've forgotten his name. But Chigundu owned Greenland Bank. Chigundu owned Uganda Grain Milling Company, UGCM, UGMC, Uganda Grain Milling Company. I don't know if you had a chance in the early 1990s to eat the bread that was called Tip Top.
I remember. It was very good.
It was very quality. That's what was Chigundu. But this president, Mr. Museveni, had to make sure that indigenous investor collapses with his company. Ugandans had low interest rates in Greenland Bank. And to President Museveni, he never liked that. He preferred banks like Crane Bank to come with very high interest rates of 30%. Imagine you're getting a loan of 10,000 Uganda shillings just to buy fertilizers of your seeds maybe on a 100 by 100 plot.
Plot of land.
Maybe you're planting tomatoes or eggplants or cabbages, and the bank is telling you that you're going to pay 30% of the 100,000 Uganda shillings you're getting. Which country does that? Go to countries like China, the interest rates are less than 2%. But in our country, I don't know what's wrong with this president, because he has to be out of office as soon as today. And again, look at also, they told you about the junk that was done during the sale of Crane Bank, and also the DFCU. Agenda. Because for me, actually, if you remember very well, I was telling you people that Bajenda, Sekabila, and Mutevili, those three were supposed to be in jail as they were testifying before Komesa.
Even Kasekende.
Yes, even Kasekende. That lady Kasekende. Those four, they were supposed to come from jail to Parliament. Then back to Parliament. But again, now look at the Parliament, because today you saw that Kantung was telling you that there is no evidence to tell you that Bajenda owns lots of properties. Why? Because there were loopholes. They gave her a chance to go back, because she wasn't in jail. So she had an opportunity of going back to meet her lawyers and change the land titles, change the ownership of those properties, maybe to her relatives. So now today, the properties that were owned by Bajenda, they don't even have names.
We have Kaka Derinja saying Kosase was concluded the Ugandan way.
No, you see, for Kosase, Abdul Kantu did a good job. But again, it raises eyebrows. Because even me, by the time Abdul Kantu to say that he's not going to run again for political office, I sensed danger there.
I don't think he did that.
Because I know he's a lawyer, a very experienced lawyer. He'll go back and get money. But again, there's something fishy.
Let's balance this out and hear what Sarah has to say.
What you cannot tell me, first of all, out after the recommendation, I do not know even why they had to start the nonsense of this committee. And if there are so other committees that are going to come up to waste taxpayers' money, they should not even start. Because I cannot give Kantun to any kudos or say that he did a good job when the recommendation he could all give was resignation. You're telling Bajenda to resign after single-handedly selling Crane Bank to DFCU, and we do not know how much it was sold. There is no letter of sale. There's no accountability, and where the money from the sale, we do not know where the money is. You do not have. You're talking of resignation. These people should be in jail. And first of all, you have Mutevili as the governor, Bank of Uganda, and is the board chairman.
It was so unfair from the beginning where it started.
No, because it is the setup is wrong. The structuring is wrong, because there is conflict of interest. Who is going to advise the other? He's the board of chairman. He's the chairman board. He's the board, board directors, and he's the governor. So who really looks into what the governor does wrong, and who looks into what the chairman does wrong? So the setup of the bank is completely wrong. No one can take that nonsense. And for Kantutu to come up with recommendations of talking of on resignation, when amount of money, Kasekende should be in jail. I would be so happy and proud of Kantutu if he gave a recommendation that Bagenda should be sent to jail, and at least the minimum, and then, you know, maybe taken to court, sent to jail, minimum 30 years. Who would clap? Kasekende should be also in prison. Mutabira should also should be in prison. But at the same the most important thing as Ugandans we want is, how do we require? When this committee was starting, I saw the properties of Kasekende that were brought up on social media, a number of properties. Why can't we get back these properties, sell them and recover the money that has been stolen? But for every report that comes up, it ends up in two very flimsy recommendations. Oh, people saying sorry, people, and I'm telling you, that's the same thing that is happening. You saw what happened in the land investigation, the Lusanja issue, and so many. I saw the Attorney General in the office of Bagemleri. Catherine. Where do these people come from? The guy is too arrogant. He speaks, and I'm telling you, this is the problem we have with Museveni's regime. Unless we fight these guys now, these guys are going to be like a thorn on the backside. The arrogancy, the lack of respect that the Attorney General showed to the lady heading the committee, it cannot be entertained anywhere else. If it was in America where I stay, he would be out.
Immediately.
He would be.
There will be so much public.
The public would demand for that person to step down, and he would step down. The arrogancy, because why are you accepting an office of the Attorney General if you cannot respond to things that concerned your office? Because she was asking him about his office, where it is involved in some land wrangles or things, and the arrogance and the way he walks up, and nothing is done. And you see, no one talks about these guys. They can say anything they want, they can do anything they want, and that's why it is very important for every Ugandan. We need to stop this, otherwise we are going to wake up tomorrow when you see it happening in the land office. If you have a plot of land, you have to be careful, because someone else has, if you have a small plot of land 50 by 100, someone has the entire village where your 50 by 100 is going to wake up tomorrow and they break your land, just like what happened in Lusanja. And you're going to report nowhere. You can't go to police, you can't go anywhere. People have a lot of arrogance. They speak with arrogance. There's a lot of impunity. They own Uganda. Sometimes I feel like, why can these guys tell us how much they bought this country?
So
as Ugandans,
can work it off and pay them back.
The Ugandans, we can collect this money. We can put together this money and pay them off.
Yeah, if I can just add something briefly on what Sarah said. For me, I would like also to call upon the chairman, the former chairman of Kosase, Abdu Kantuntu, because right now, when Yagwa has taken over, since this guy has finished the report, to do Ugandans a service, to summarize this report, maybe like into a one-pager, because the report has 66 pages. So an ordinary Ugandan
is not going to read
in Komansimbi wants to know what was in that report.
What was said.
They can't read 66 pages.
And the people who lost money in Crane Bank. So many Ugandans lost money in Crane Bank. They need to know exactly how are they going to cover their money.
Let Parliament also think about the wananchi, to ensure that each and everyone understands the outcomes of this committee. And again, also, as Sarah said and everyone has said, there is no political will in this country. So as Museveni, who has the prerogative to implement the recommendations of this Kosase committee, the Kosase report, he is not going to do nothing. Because we've seen on very many occasions, like with the issue of the police probe, he never did nothing. And again, even in Kosase, he will do nothing. So as Ugandans, you have only one thing to ensure that this guy is out of power. So just line up behind Bobby Wine, then we change the status quo. Then Sarah was telling you about also, the conflict that was between the Deputy Attorney General and also Justice Catherine Bamugemereire. So there was a conflict there because the other guy, the Deputy Attorney General, was a lecturer of Catherine Bamugemereire. So I think they were trying to exchange who has more powers.
Who has more powers?
Yes, because the Attorney General is
flapping their wings.
Because if you look at the structure of our political system, you see that the Attorney General is above this lady, Justice Bamugemereire. So Bamugemereire was just on a land commission that was put by the president. At any time, that land commission can be scrapped off, and the mafias are fighting this land commission. So if you see the Deputy Attorney General coming out to fight this lady, then you know something is cooking also. He has someone who is pushing him to do the same, because you can't just do it like that. And one thing, of course, we don't want to say that this is a tribalism or not, because these are people from the same region, because they know their issues. And they know their backup. They are both appointed by the president, and it's the president to remove any of them if he wants. But trust me, the president won't commit about it, and the president is going to leave them into power, because the president wants to see such conflicts, divide and rule. So if he is seeing such things happening, then he knows that now I'm working. That's how dictators work. Conflicts sustain them in power.
Sustain them.
But if there is no conflicts, then they're easily defeated. So as Ugandans, we are tired of this nonsense. And we are saying, let's embrace the words of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the US. He said, when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. So let it be a duty of all Ugandans to resist this leadership of dictator Museveni. We are saying enough is enough, Museveni must go. We want to see a Uganda that works for all Ugandans, not a Uganda that works for only a few or the minority.
All right, I want to thank you, Sarah and Hillary, for always just being around, just so that everyone know what's going on, and just pinpointing and shedding so much light on issues that are happening in Uganda. For everyone tuning in, let me just read these last few comments before I get to say goodbye to you. Robert Kabuye, Boston, you're always a good supporter, so thank you so much for always supporting the show. You're saying we will fight the NRM government of Uganda to the last man standing. Bajenda is Randese, that's why she doesn't care about Uganda. Kathy Tendo, thank you so much for always supporting as well. You're saying thank you, Crossroads, for the enlightenment. We want the stolen money recovered and put back into the government envelope. Barbara Hazel is saying Deputy Attorney General said you can report the matter to God if you're offended, which I don't think if you have that title, I don't think that's something that you should say. Isaac Sally is saying, hi guys, thank you for the good job. We are following you from London. Thank you so much for tuning in. Joseph Kamugisha is saying the arrogant Attorney General has the backing of his boss Museveni, which explains why he was so disrespectful of the commission and the honorable judge. One other thing I had him bragging about, Buhitota at the LDC, as if that is the reason for showing his arrogance and disrespect. Evelyn Namsoke, thank you for tuning in. For everyone who has been watching, let's continue this conversation throughout the week. Let's continue this conversation throughout the rest of online. Keep sending in your questions, your advice. If there's anything you want us to work on or talk about or rectify or go back and check back on, keep writing to us, keep liking the page and keep sharing, keep letting us know where you're watching as well, and we'll continue trying to make sure that you guys get the best of everything. For now, I've been your host, Alex. Thank you so much for watching Uganda Crossroads. We'll see you soon. Bye. Have a lovely day.
Future life is so hard if it wasn't for this.